welcome to the first ever podcast of the Tom and Gerry Show.
Yeah, how you doing?
My name is Tom O'Mahony.
And I'm Gerry McBride. How are you keeping?
I suppose a brief intro into the two of us. We're both stand-up comedians. Chancellors at this thing. We're both looking at the actual podcast machine here like a couple of aliens looking at a cow.
Shouldn't there be a red light on that?
Yeah, and there's two red lights. Fantastic. We're sitting here like, I don't know what, in a car on the side of the road. It's absolutely fantastic. To give you a brief insight, Gerry and myself, like I said, we're stand-up comedians. Gerry's writer of Waterford Whispers.
Yeah, I write for Waterford Whispers News under the tutelage of the wonderful Colin Williamson down in Waterford.
Fantastic. I suppose if anybody was to know me, they go Colchi if they knew me. And if they don't know me, but they kind of know me, they know me as, I suppose, Tarquin from Damon Ivor.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's that out of the way anyway.
That's us. Just so you put faces to the voices there.
I suppose other than we're going, there's going to be a lot of ranting. We know that's going to happen anyway. We know there's going to be a lot of ranting. First and foremost.
So ease yourself into it.
Yeah, ease yourself into it.
We'll start off with a little segment called Giving Out Yards.
Giving out yards.
Where episode by episode we will give out yards. On occasion, give out miles.
I like the imperialistic sound of it too. It's not giving out meters.
Giving
just
out
doesn't
a meter.
sound the same.
No. We're giving out yards. That's what this comes to.
But
Tom, what have you got this week?
My gear grinder this week was a thing called SugarDaddy.com. I didn't know about it. Apparently it's going. Did you like up and?
I didn't know about this till you told me about it. No.
20,000 women have signed up to it in Ireland. Apparently.
And what is this? What is this, Tom?
It's essentially where for, I suppose, a little less commitment than you would get in a normal relationship. These tend to be middle-aged, older American dudes, basically find girls on sites like this that they like the look of, and they commit to giving them a fundage each month and gifts for their, I suppose, for their hanging out.
For their crocheting skills.
Yeah, for their crocheting skills. And there's been widespread justification of this. Like, there was a woman on the radio talking about it. I've read it in the news. I was like, well, a girl's got to get paid. It's.
But this is not like Tinder. This is not where two like-minded individuals
no.
match off a succession of things they're both interested in. On SugarDaddy.com, the two parties are interested in two things.
Yeah.
But these one might be more interested in money, and the other might be more interested in what he can get for them.
Yeah. Yeah,
simple as that.
That's it.
There's a name for this in olden times.
Yeah,
I think,
it's the oldest profession in the world.
But the other thing is that you got to see these guys with all their money and such. Like, you think to themselves now, you've got all the money going for you, but you still have to go on SugarDaddy.com.
It wasn't a charm school that they made their money anyway. There's no way they made. I mean, you'd have to assume you'd be fairly desperate. Or is it a control thing? Is it, or what is it?
Do you know what I think, Tom? And I'm going to tell you this now straight. I think it's absolute laziness.
That's it.
I think it's the height of laziness, right? And I'm not on Tinder or I'm not on anything like this. I'm a married man. So all this kind of thing passed me by. All this.
I'd like to point out I'm not on Tinder either. I'm happily.
No, you're happily in a relationship. So Tinder and such like has passed us by. I'm of a generation where if you wanted to meet a girl, you rang her house. 9 times out of 10 it would be her father who would answer, and then you'd have that conversation of asking for his daughter,
and then he'd embarrass her by saying she's actually in the jacks.
Yeah. You'd be lucky if he said that. I used to have to run the gauntlet of questions.
Did you?
Who are you?
Oh, whose people are you?
What do you want with my daughter? And you didn't want to give him the truth of it.
Regardless of how much pursuit you had to do and all the rest of it, regardless of even if we were single men nowadays, there is no, and I've had my lazy days. Neither one of us are Olympic athletes of any sorts, or Fortune 500 owners.
No,
I have never been so lazy to the point where I would go, you know what I need to do? I need to get on the line.
Do you know what it is? It's not like let's go out and let's see who we can meet and la la. If I'm not going to meet anyone, I'm not leaving the house.
Yeah.
I'm lining this shit up before I set foot out the door.
But you've accepted the fact that you're not meeting anybody by not leaving the house.
I think if you take the internet out of it, the internet is a wonderful thing, but if you take it out of the equation and say, how would you do this in a non-internet thing? But basically, with Tinder, you would stroll around town with your tool hanging out, until you found someone that said, "Oh, Tool, I have a place for that.
I am compatible with that Tool.
I'm compatible with that." And then you would swipe. I don't even know which way do you swipe for a girl you're interested in, left or right?
I don't know. Do you swipe? Oh, yeah. Who was telling me about it actually? And it was yeah, you do.
We'll maybe not name him.
Yeah. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Okay, so to say 20,000, I think that's a strong figure now. I think that's strong. And we talked about being lazy and everything else, and that we would never, regardless of how much money I had, I couldn't bring myself. I mean, if I'm paying somebody, I want a product. Like, do you know what I mean? If you're just throwing somebody money and all you get to do is hold hands and whatever else, there is no product at the end of it.
Well, I'm sure
I want a wall built or something like.
SugarDaddy.com can line everything out there in front of you. Is there a wall building section?
There probably is, I suppose. Yeah. I'd want to see your credentials, all right. But here's the thing. Could you ever imagine it going the other way if there was a sugarmommy.com?
I can absolutely see. I can see a market for it. Yeah.
Can you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
some old one looking like a tea bag.
Well, it might not necessarily look like a teabag, or indeed Teabag from the 80s show, Teabag.
That's what I was thinking of, Teabag. My God, I just went flooding back. Teabag! Oh my God!
Alright, back in the days when teabags were something you got tea out of, or a lady on the TV.
Yeah,
that's all you ever had.
I wasn't going anywhere else with that
teabag. There was no
teabag.
other connotation with the word teabag. And then, puberty hit and everything got ruined, you know what I mean? You started learning new terms for everything. You couldn't say a sentence.
It ruined all the good stuff. The innocence of it.
But, if there wasn't a lassie and she was rich and she was looking for a young stud on sugarmommy.com, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a pure pig that wouldn't hoke, yeah.
I know, but I can't see it flipping listen, I was hungry in college. And I ate a lot of cocoa noodles, but at no point did I ever think, you know what I need to do? I need to find myself.
I need to find myself a sugar mommy.
Some blue-haired, bingo-loving
individual who needs help getting her radio tuned in.
Yeah. I just
happens to have a load of money.
I couldn't get my head around. I know there's.
I can see it. There's a market for. There's absolutely if there's a market for sugar daddies, there's a market for sugar mummies. And
maybe we need to get on that. So.
Well, I need to get a bit more sugar.
What was the most worrying about this site is because reading through it and all the rest of it, the sugar daddies are called sugar daddies, but the women that sign up to this are called sugar babies.
Sugar babies.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little disturbing.
Yeah, that troubled me big time.
It's okay for a lady, I think, to just say, well, I've got a sugar daddy.
Yeah.
I've got an older man.
Well, a daddy, you'd always assume that it's somebody in.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a little salt
above
and
adolescence
in
at the very least.
He's going a little grey. He's got like that distinguished look.
But a sugar baby.
Yeah, that's just creepy.
My first thought when I heard it was jelly baby dipped in sugar, but then I thought what everybody else is probably. But that's me. I'm a weirdo. But then I thought what everybody else would be thinking. Good God.
Yeah, I mean, what could we call it? You couldn't call it a sugar daughter.
Oh, that sounds even worse.
There's nothing sounding good out of any of this.
You have to imagine they trialed everything.
Oh, they ran everything through the.
What would be there'd be sugar daughter.
Sugar daughter, sugar offspring. I think would be.
It's getting incestuous then, isn't it?
It's really I mean, like.
That's the thing. It's because it's been glazed over. It's got a kind of branded idea of sugar daddy, to have a sugar daddy or whatever. Nobody has kind of gone on the whole. You don't ever want to call somebody you're dating your daddy.
Your daddy, no. Let it be said at this point in time that I don't believe either of us really give a fuck what anybody does with their money.
You're absolutely right.
But with that said, we can comment on it.
They got way more. The problem, I'll tell you, all the problem is that I'm jealous that they got newspaper column and I didn't. That's all that is. They're not talking about me.
It's the odd thing. There was a segment on the website. I checked on it, and you know what the funny thing about this is, Tom? You said check out sugardaddy.com, and we'll talk about it this evening.
Yeah.
There's not just one website. There's like 20 with different spellings of sugar daddy.
How do you spell sugar daddy differently?
DADDIE.
Oh.
Then there was sugar-daddy.com. There was sugardaddydating.com. It was like, this is not a niche industry. This is a lot going on here.
Wow.
And the one I went into, there was a picture. There's various pictures of elderly gentlemen, and they're like Jose Mourinho looking.
Oh, of course, yeah, they're going to be gorgeous looking.
Sort of like swarthy Italian sort of fellas. Not diesel laundering millionaires.
Fellow who made his money off gypsum. And windows and insulation. Yeah.
And the ladies are all they're all like they all look like Kylie Jenner. They all look like they're fucking 20 years of age.
At least they don't look like Bruce Jenner.
No, that's true, but give him time. Then
Has Bruce Jenner started to turn into a woman?
I believe he has, yes.
Did you see, like, I only noticed it the other day watching, I don't know if you watched the rugby match, but Joe Schmidt is definitely turning into a young Bruce Jenner.
Right.
Look at the two pictures. His complexion is way too good.
He's looping around. Oh, come on, Bruce. But come here to me, yeah. The pictures on the website, it's all like, so it's Jose Mourinho or whoever.
Yeah.
And the ladies are all like sporty little types. And every single picture has him in a suit with no tie.
Oh, well, that shows a guy who
Which
cares.
means he's a guy that, okay, he's rich, but this guy is just not some fuddy-duddy, right? She's in a black dress. And every picture has him putting a necklace around her neck from behind. So it's just like, get used to this. It's just not.
All I can picture is, do you remember that old ad that where it was for John Smith's beer, where she scooped out beer and she put it in the foam.
Right.
And it looks like one of those ads, like, you know, where he's like a swarthy looking bloke and she turns around and goes, "Hey, wolf, me neck," you know. There is.
I mean, if there's one other dating site that I think. And for two attached men, Tom, we sure know a lot about dating sites.
I'm glad that you get to play this later for your missus, because if she goes through your phone history, it's going to be
yeah.
horrific.
Why were you looking up sugardaddy.com?
You'd be young too, yeah. You're like...
of it. There's another one called elitesingles.com. You might have seen this.
Oh, I've seen the ads. They're horrific.
The ads are horrific. It's like it's really
like in life. Yeah, that guy.
I just want to be fussy about who I go out with. It's one of these things where they're selling a dating site, but they're trying to make it out to be a step above. It's like, you know, well, you don't want to be going for like little fucking teenagers with mini skirts or things like this. You want like a classy lady. You want elite singles, and then a lady will come on and be like, you don't want some fella who might have a previous history of drug abuse. You want to be with elite singles, and we run all these checks and all these kind of things. The funny thing about all that is, like, they advertise it during the day on TLC.
Yeah, because the people watching TLC are just stepped off their yacht.
Yeah, they're really looking for it. They advertise that shit in the breaks in Jeremy Kyle.
Oh,
you know, it's like
I broke somebody's heart the other day.
Oh
that
my God.
They thought it was the Learning Channel, or it is the Learning Channel, which is ironic, but they thought it was Tender Loving Care.
Tender Loving Care. Well, it's long since ceased to be the Learning Channel, unless you
want to learn about rednecks.
Yeah, you want to learn about how to convert
six-fingered
roadkill
people
into your dinner. Oh.
All right, I don't want to say rant over, but I think, I suppose...
We've given out yards.
Well, we could... I don't think there's enough memory on this thing for how angry the two of us are. But I suppose, well, here, listen, this is something that everybody always asks us, and they're always interested to know. And and it's the one question, I suppose, it's the one...
We're comedians.
Gigs.
As such as we are.
Worst gigs
ever.
The good gigs don't stay in your head. You think they'll stay in your head, but they don't. The worst gigs stay in your head.
Which is why we call this segment... My worst gig ever.
I left that one to you. That was good.
And it is. Nobody ever wants to hear about your best gig ever. They want to hear the gory stories.
Yeah, nobody. Yeah, because there's no fun. It's like sure newspapers wouldn't sell if it was all nice stuff. So
every week, every podcast, we're going to be coming up with another worst gig, and we could run 100.
Oh yeah, plenty of them.
And we have plenty of them. I'll feel this one this week. My worst gig ever was. I was only started to stand up about maybe 2-3 years. Things were starting to go well.
Yeah,
you know that period where you start to get bookings.
You're like, this is it. Yeah,
this is it. You've crested. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got booked for a gig in a hotel. When you get booked for a gig in a hotel, that's the creme de la creme.
Yeah.
Because not only do you get to do the gig, you get to stay over for free.
Yeah.
And now you're like, this is
the bit where you're kind of hoping they're going. Wonder will they throw me in a few free pints as
well?
Yeah,
it's wondering is there drink?
Yeah.
And you don't want to say it when you're being booked, but like your heart's going, so let me get this straight, you're going to pay me to come to you and I get to stay over there for free and I might get a few free drinks and I get me breakfast in the morning and everything. It's like everything sort of clicks. And after a while, the luster goes off. And after a few fucking gigs like this, the luster goes off. But anyway, I had only just started going out with my then girlfriend, my now wife.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And she hadn't really seen me perform anywhere, so this is just mounting up. You know what I mean? She didn't come to it, Tom. I brought her to it. Oh yeah. I was like, you know what? You stick around.
Oh, you're
with
Chris
me.
Rock.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I was like, why don't we go away for the weekend? Oh, well, we don't really have a whole pile of money at the time. Don't worry.
Don't worry about it.
I got
My people
this.
are putting me up.
My
yeah.
people are putting me up. Yeah, I got a gig. They're putting me up. You get your breakfast in the morning. It was just... It was
I love that this is why. I know exactly where this is going. Yeah.
And I could tell you 100 stories that all start with that same opening, but, it was just right. It was just right to be back.
Okay.
So
I mean it. Yeah.
We're here. I landed the gig in the hotel.
North or south of the country?
It's north. It was up in Donegal, and in a very, very sleepy town called Stranorlar. And
Stranolar.
yes, Stranorlar and Ballybuffet are two towns which are right beside each other.
I've heard of almost every town. I've never heard of Stranolar.
Have you heard of Ballybuffet?
Yeah.
Well, then that's Stranorlar.
Okay.
There's no divide. There's no road. It just stops being one and starts being another.
Okay,
It's
right.
like split it down the middle like it's the fucking Odd Couple.
I know, just have an
This
image.
is my side of the town.
Did you ever see that old Steptoe and Son, where they split the entire
Yeah,
apartment?
exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. So we were up there and we were rocking out, and we get to the gig, and there's nobody in the ballroom.
Lovely.
And like
what time is this at?
This is at like 8:30.
Okay, yeah.
And they had the ballroom lined out for everything. Okay, this is a proper what you'd have a wedding
Theatre
in.
show, like.
And it is all the way to the back. Okay, there's no stage at the front. You're just standing on like the carpet section.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
One from the tall comedians.
It's from wherever you can stand. You would have a long journey up to the stage.
Oh.
In full view of everyone because the lights were all on. Which is people listening.
There
to
was
this,
no backstage green room area.
No. And people listening to this might think that stand-up comedians make a lot of excuses and saying, what, you had a shit gig because the lights were all on?
Yeah.
Did your jokes suddenly not get funny because your lights were on? But really, when you lower the lights in a room, it really creates an atmosphere. And
Well, just flip it the other way. How many times in your life, anybody who does listen to this, have you ever had a sensual moment with the lights full
with the lights
throttle?
blaring on, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you went to the cinema and the lights were all on, immediately you'll be like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
So when you have an audience sitting watching you on stage and the lights are all on, they're nervous and they're less inclined to laugh because they're shifting in their seat.
People like to laugh in anonymity, and there's anonymity in darkness.
Exactly, but all this was moot without a crowd, which there was not one of.
But you're making excuses in your head, you see, at this time, because you're thinking maybe this is one of those towns that doesn't get going till 10
It
o'clock.
doesn't get going till 10 o'clock. No, this town wasn't going to get going. In actual fact, the only people that knew there was a gig on here tonight were the comedians.
Oh.
There was no.
How many comedians were on?
There was 3 of us.
Okay.
And I'll keep it to myself and not mention the other guys who actually had good gigs, just to further compound my misery. But nobody knew it was on, so we got in and there's no one there.
Okay.
And they've got 400 seats lined out.
400
Oh, it was like
okay.
the whole thing was done.
How many people do you reckon are in that town?
Oh, 400 tops. 395 at a push. So rather than just say, well, let bygones be bygones, give these lads a few pints and let them go up to their rooms.
Yeah.
They wanted to press ahead. So what they did was they went out into the lobby and corralled in as many people as they could. All right, which is now
People who never had an intention of coming in the first place were being hunted.
So if you picture like a sleepy Donegal town on a Saturday night, who's loitering around in the lobby of a hotel that they're staying in? The elderly. The people that don't have the energy to go down the town, who are just enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
And they're chilling out in the lobby. And then they come along and go, sorry, would you like tickets for a comedy show? It's free, go on ahead in.
Ooh.
And they managed to corral in, it was 6 couples. 6 pairs of people.
Where did they sit?
Average age about 70, I swear to God. They were
Oh
old,
my
okay?
God.
And they sat, not even in a group, not even in the front row. They just fucking pockmarked themselves around the room at random.
Oh.
Just like...
With their sherry.
With their sherry. I swear to God, there was like, between each couple there had to be about 30 seats. That's it, in all directions. That's how spread out they were. On top of that, they managed somehow, from anywhere, I don't know where they got these in Stranorlar or on a fucking Saturday night, they got in 5 Turkish men.
5 Turkish
Just
men.
5 Turks. Just 5 lads. Don't know what they were doing there.
Surely the local barbers.
Having a good time, I don't know. But they've all landed in. And I went on and I just crashed the plane into the sea. It was fucking horrendous. Oh my God. You'll take that.
How long did you do?
Oh,
How long were you supposed to do?
I was supposed to do 15.
And how long did you get?
6.5. At best. I swear to God.
Was there an MC? There was.
There was an MC who walked on and said, "How are you all keeping?" Nobody clapped. And he said, "Here's your first act."
Oh, I swear to God, I'm not going to tell it, but one of the ones I'm thinking, I'll tell it at another stage.
I'll stay tuned for this.
Purely because it's down south, but it almost word for word.
Yeah.
went like that.
These things come again.
Only I had a good crowd, but like that, a good sized crowd, but nobody wanted to be there.
Oh, this is it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, and there's nothing, like, you're really on the back foot. So I ploughed into my material, which was largely based around what it was like to be a young man living in the city, to these elderly people and Turkish guys who didn't appear to have any English.
Jesus.
And the old folks just stared me out of it. They bored into my soul with these looks. It wasn't even that you're a shit comedian, pal, or we've heard funnier jokes than this. It was just like,
I wish he'd sing a song.
I
wish he'd sing a song right now.
Do your parents know you do this? Are you not ashamed of your life?
You may as well have been a stripper on stage.
You really might as well have just been a Protestant. I swear to God. But they really just absolutely stared a hole straight through me. And I was, and I remember one lady just kind of leaned forward in the seat, and she goes, "Do you think any of this is funny?"
Oh,
it was just like, and I was like,
not to you, to somebody else she was with.
No, to me.
Oh my! All right.
Yeah, to me.
Because you were saying it because you obviously didn't think it was funny.
Yeah, I was just, well, I was kind of hoping you didn't think it was funny, but this is not going to. So that was all right. I said, "Thank you."
Get one single laugh.
No, fuck no, I did not. I got this when I left the stage. I got this. Right. So that's bad, right? That's a bad gig by any man's standards, right?
Oh.
And as Thomas said there, we've done several gigs like this. We could tell you 100 stories and they'd all go the same. But what makes this one stick out in my mind as one of my worst gigs of all time was that I was staying in that hotel for the night, and so were they.
Oh.
So even though I went to the bar to enjoy which turned out not to be free drink, they were sitting right across me. And there was just this general eerie vibe of them looking across at me going, "There's that lad that was up trying to tell jokes over there." And even the Turkish lads were kind of nudging themselves and going, "Oh, Turkey, look at himself over there," you know? And
Jesus.
it was so bad. And my girlfriend, my wife now, my girlfriend at the time...
She stayed with you?
Oh, yeah, somehow managed. That's how I knew I had to keep her, because she didn't get the fucking bus back to Dublin at 1 o'clock in the morning.
No, your grand
She stuck by my side and she patted me on the back and said, "Oh, you know, it was good. It was good, you know. It was, yeah, some of it, you know, it was good. I thought it was good." And I was like, "Oh, God love you, all right."
Yeah, God love you. No,
but
you almost start to feel pity for her.
I swear to God, I got absolutely destroyed drunk. Okay, and I don't know how I got to bed. I got destroyed drunk. I was sick of it, and I woke up the next day still in the clothes. I went to bed and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm going down for this free breakfast." Okay, so I walks over and I press the button for the elevator. Okay, and I'm waiting for her here dying with a hangover. It goes bing and opens the door.
No.
The lady that fucking leaned in and her husband is in the lift, and I have to get in and sit with them in the fucking elevator. We go down, we go in for the breakfast, and the whole breakfast area just goes quiet. And you see all these heads look up like meerkats of 6 elderly couples and 5 Turkish men.
Oh, the Turkish lads were actually staying.
The Turkish lads were there, and just the buzz in the room was, "There's that shit lad."
They didn't even feel pity for you at that stage.
No.
They were just starting to hate you.
It was the death that just kept.
Oh my.
That is why it's this week's worst gig ever.
Oh, that is worst gig ever. Yeah, that's gold.
But you know what the best thing about that, Tom? If you listen to future podcasts, you know we're going to talk
Oh,
that
yeah.
story.
I had one kind of to line up, but now I have one going, no, there's one that's actually going to make people squirm.
So stay tuned for that.
Why do you wonder why, though, wouldn't you? You wonder why you keep doing it when that horror is going on, like, you know?
You know, every gig is potentially that gig. It doesn't turn out to be that way, and you have gigs that are great crack, and you have gigs that are great fun, but every time you step on a stage, you are potentially...
You're walking on that landmine, like...
You're walking on that landmine. You're hoping someone will just try and kind of knock you into a pit.
Jesus, yeah.
So that the explosion won't tear your legs off. But, But yeah, that's worst gig ever, and
Yeah,
we're going to move
I
on
liked it.
to our
I liked it.
to our closing segment for this podcast.
This is, I suppose, yeah, well, this is a good idea. This was good, and I suppose a lot of people can relate to it. I suppose we can be stereotypical for the people who can't relate to it.
Absolutely, because up until now we've had to put on airs and graces, but now we can be culchies.
Yeah, we can be absolute. Yeah, we were totes my goats up until this. Now we can be. Well, it's twofold why myself and Gerry got on, because we were of pure boom cultures too. We got straight into construction from one field or another, and we spent as long as the boom would keep us in construction, and then spat us out the other end.
There's not one thing we couldn't tell you you're doing wrong about.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Some man for pointing at stuff.
I swear to God, there's not a hole I haven't stored into.
But something I suppose every culture at some stage, and the big smoke. We both live up here in the county.
We both live up here.
Yeah, we live in the county of the big smoke. Anyway,
it's born at this stage.
Yeah,
but back when we were small,
oh my good God, it was amazing.
It was a thing,
amazing.
Which is why we call this segment Culchies Day Out.
Culchies Day Out.
Culchies Day Out. Well, I don't know.
We'll work on that. We'll work on that. Yeah, I'm one of my favourite ones. Back in the day, the old man. He's still fit. He's still as fit as a flea. The old man. Like the guy is in his 60s and still has a six pack.
Right.
It's just there's something wrong. But they live for years and years on dad's side of the family. Like my grandfather just bought a brand new car. He's 94. How what?
That's it.
You know what? Really? You couldn't have spared that a few quid and thrown it my way, like 94. But he doesn't see an end in sight. That's the thing, like, on a logical way. Like, his mother lived to 104.
Yeah.
His father lived till 98.
So he's still got like a good innings in him.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's got to the point where that car could go for scrappage value by the time he's ready. Yeah. But the old man used to run a lot. He used to do Dublin City marathons and things like that. And this was
well, he wasn't fucking around.
No, he used to do proper running shit like. And
what age were you, Tom?
My earliest was probably 4 up until probably 10. He was running these road races and things like that.
6 straight. And you're from
I'm from South Tipperary, so it was a long haul because you had to come through places. It was fine now. You can do it in 2 hours straight down the motorway.
Straight up to it.
But back then there was Portlaoise, Abbeyleix, Port Arlington, all these shithole places. I can remember spending 3 hours just trying to get through Abbeyleix.
Yes,
you could puck a slitter from one end of Abbeyleix to the fucking other.
Yes,
it's just absolute fucking gridlock. But we went up. I remember Dad, he was running, and a handful of things. I remember Rhythm Was a Dancer was big at the time.
Okay.
A trip to Abracadabra blew my fucking brains. I was just in...
What did you get in Abracadabra? What did the culture get in Abracadabra?
Oh, yeah.
This is the late 80s.
This is the late 80s, so there was nothing fancy. It was burger and chips. That was it. Cheese was fancy.
That was it.
Yeah, cheese was fancy. They had this taco sauce, which is essentially they called it taco sauce, but it was ketchup and mayonnaise mixed together.
Is that not all the taco sauce is?
That's what I thought. You think there'd be a drop of heat or something in it, but there's not. That's all it was.
Something taco. Do you know what they call a taco chip in Dundalk?
What do they call it?
A Mexican chip.
Of course. Well, yeah, a Mexican chip. Because heaven forbid they'd be anything Dundalk. I mean, the Hispanic capital of Ireland. Yeah.
I swear to God, I was on the.
There's a burrito bar on every corner in Dundalk.
I remember I was on the sandwich run one lunch this place I was working in Dundalk, and this guy asked me for a Mexican chip with no mince, and I was like, "Did you ever fuck off? I don't
a Mexican
with no mince. How is that possible?"
So ketchup and mayo mixed together.
Yeah, you want cheese chips is what you want.
Yeah, cheese chips. Yeah. But we went up this one year. Now, what I can remember from it was 2 things. I can remember, obviously, those bits and pieces, but I can remember going to see the Turtles. Because the race, he'd be fucked off on the race between signing and everything. It's not like you could follow him.
What could he time it out? Was he like a 3-hour man?
Yeah, he was into the 3 hours. But, I mean, by the time he'd signed up and everything, by the time he'd showered up and everything finished, we probably had a 5-hour window at least. Like, so we had
time.
We had time to go see the Wax Museum.
Right.
I got stuck in the Wax Museum.
Where I could tell you where you got stuck in the Wax Museum. Did you get stuck in the little tunnels?
Yeah. Why? Because there was a fat youngster came ploughing up the outside of me. Fat Dublin kid came ploughing up the outside of me in the tunnel. Couldn't wait for me to get out the other and jammed me in it. They had to poke him in the head with a stick to get him to go backwards.
This is back when the Wax Museum was up where the Maldron Hotel
That's
is.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Yeah.
It was the fucking snots, the wax music.
Oh,
I wouldn't.
I dined out on that for fucking 5 years when I got back down to Tipperary. But I remember I was utterly starstruck by seeing Angus McNally. Do you remember the big fuzzy microphone for a head? He had a fro for a white guy. He had a big fro.
Where'd you see Angus?
I saw him interviewing somebody by the side of the race, and the guy seemed like 9 foot tall to me, and I was just absolutely welded to the ground. I was thinking, Angus McFucking-Nally, this is fucking amazing.
Whereabouts in the street is this?
He was somewhere. This
is O'Connell Street.
It was either O'Connell Street or just off. It was. I don't know which way they turned up. I don't think it was O'Connell Street.
Your memory will play tricks on you now.
It was close to O'Connell Street because all the action was happening near where it was. So, lo and behold, get to meet Angus McNally. Got brought up to him, the whole lot. Because somebody spotted while I was with my mother how riveted by the scenario. Guy brought me up, got to meet him, the whole works. Absolutely amazed. And I suppose I was maybe 5, we'll say I was. 32 last year.
Right, yeah.
I'm in the RTE canteen. Who stands up behind me?
No
Angus McNally. I said, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be amazing.
This story could go 2 ways now.
And it's going to go exactly how you know it's going to go. He shoved me aside. Didn't even say excuse me or anything. Went straight over to get himself a cup of milk. He was bawling. All his fun drinking milk. Oh, it was the worst. It was the biggest heart crush. I'm like, what? We had it. What?
We had a moment, Angus.
You absolute bastard, Angus McNally. I hate Dublin. I hate Dublin.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and that was essentially my. Yeah, that was my day out in the big smoke. That was my day out in the big smoke. Brilliant. And Angus McNally can go to hell, and his cup of milk coming over.
A fucking cup of milk.
Who gets a cup of milk? A 4-year-old child at 4 a.m. with a biscuit.
What did he get? Was it warm milk?
No, he got it in one of those plastic little yolks. He pulled it out of the out of the water fountain. You know, the little plastic squidgy cups, and walked over to the milk fountain where you would go to fill your tea or whatever, and filled a cup of milk for himself.
I can't. And did he drink it? Did you watch him?
He drank one there and then refilled it, and
he just stood there and fucking down
like a goat.
Down the shot of milk.
He down the shot of milk like a sambuca. Son of a bitch. Oh, I hated that man right on that spot. I held him in such regard. He can go to hell.
Oh my god.
Culture's Day out for that one,
Culture's Day out for that one.
Yeah.
Alright, I think will we wrap that up?
Yeah, we'll stick a pin in that one. And,
you can follow us on Twitter, Tom and Gerry Show, at Tom and Gerry Show. I tell you, I high-fived myself when I got that.
Yeah, that was good. That was very good. That was good. Also, if you want to, you can find us too. We're going to have this up on SoundCloud and everything else. So, of course, you're going to be listening to this unless it's through some other forum. I don't know.
Checking, did you listen?
Yeah, absolutely. As well as that, you can, if anybody has ever any, I suppose, we'll probably branch into the hardware and the construction side of things.
Towards the line, we'll start doing things.
So we'll start getting questions of people, and not the regular ones that you're going to send in to Duncan. Not those ones. We want ones, why there's hair growing on the underside of things. You know, that's what we will be wanting. But
so you can get us at Tom and Gerry Show on Twitter, or I'm at Gerry McBride, and you're
at Tom_O'Mahony. Very easy to find it.
Yeah, you have an underscore, pal.
I had to. Somebody went for something else.
Sucker.
There was a Tom O'Mahony. I couldn't believe it. It was like the first time I ever opened a Hotmail account. I went Hotmail at Hotmail, but I wrote it mail as an MALE. I thought, I'm a genius. Yeah, your options are Hotmail 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Somebody had already thought of it. I was absolutely raging.
I would have been absolutely raging if I was on Twitter and I had to be at Gerry McBride too. I would have been
Gerry McBride too.
I'd just not go on Twitter.
Oh, it killed me to go for the underscore, but I went for it. I had no other choice. So I wrote it. Mine is in capitals. So now whenever somebody, whenever somebody just tags me in something, I look like they're shouting my name now.
Yeah, Tom O'Mahony.
Because I'm just furious over the underscore.
So, okay, that's us all there, and we will
should we see you back next week? I suppose, next week.
For your next episode of the Tom and Gerry Show.
Laters.
Good luck.